let's use that hole as an example of what do I mean when we talk about scoring. Scoring is not about hitting good shots, it's about not making huge mistakes and hitting bad shots for most people. Until you start breaking into the 80s and the 70s, you do not need to hit good shots. You just need to not hit really bad shots. So what do I mean by that? Let's rewind and watch where did I make mistakes on that first hole. Now, a lot of people probably think I made a mistake. You can point out minor mistakes, but minor mistakes are not what cost you, such as my approach shot. That was not too bad, even though I left it short. I can make an argument that I left it short. Where I made those mistakes on the last hole was my tee shot and my first putt. And let's explain why. But let's break this shot down on this par 3. Most people think about scoring as in I need to hit a good shot and land it on the green so I can try for par. But that's not the reality. The reality is you just need to hit a shot that does not lose you the ball. Oh. Most of us are not going to be playing par golf. So thinking about scoring as in I need to get pars and birdies is the wrong way to think about it. Thinking about not losing the ball and not making huge mistakes is the big problem, is the goal about scoring. So as long as I can, as long as I can work towards getting bogeys and eliminating double bogeys, pars will come naturally and your scores will go down. How do you make double and triple bogeys? Well, you hit it out of bounds, or you let your ego get in the way, or you get lazy. And let me talk about those a little bit more. Scoring is about eliminating the really big mistakes. And as long as I eliminate the big mistakes, my score will drop down naturally. Why? Because we are going to make small mistakes throughout our entire golf career. The difference between shooting in the 80s and the 70s and shooting in the 90s and 100s is we eliminate big mistakes, such as hitting it out of bounds constantly, losing the ball, or hitting really flubbed shots. So here on this hole, if I was to make a really big mistake, it would be hitting it out of bounds. So I'm not gonna try to hit it left. I can hit it right as long as I don't shank it. But as long as I don't top it 15 yards or hit it out of bounds, I'm good regardless of the distance. I did not hit that well, and we're still good. I would need to hit it around 200 yards to the corner and then land it on the green for 2 and then 2-putt. And that is what most people think that they need to do to score well. When the reality is, you don't, because we are not playing for pars most of the time. Once you start breaking 90, you are starting to play for pars. Why? Because you need to at that point. For the average golfer, we need to think about eliminating the double and triple bogeys, not playing for par. So I'm not gonna put myself in a position where I'm choosing a club that I'm uncomfortable with, trying to land it 200, 120 yards, and then another 160, 170 yards when I'm not comfortable with those. Well, even on a par 5, people will immediately think scoring, I need to get this on in 3 and then 2-putt. But you, the average golfer, are not playing for par. We are playing for bogeys and eliminating double bogey. Pars will come naturally if you let it happen. However, the average golfer will get themselves into trouble by trying to go for the par when they don't have the skill or the practice to do so. Why? Because I've been there, I know it. So what does that mean? It's helpful to think about wasting shots as in big wasted shots. Hitting it out of bounds or hitting it behind a tree where I have to chip out and I'm wasting a shot there, or even topping it, chunking it 50 yards and I'm wasting a shot. I can play this whole par 5 with only a 9-iron. My 9-iron goes around 150, 155. And a 9-iron, 150 yards, reliable yards, is all you will need to play golf, even from the blue tees, and score well. And let me explain why. Slipped it a little bit. I want you to think of how many times are you ever faced with a 600-yard par 5? Probably never, right? If you are, it's a rare occurrence. But if you can hit 150 yards, you can still get on for par every single time, regardless of if it's at least shorter than 500-600 yards. I can hit a 150, 150, that's 300, 150, 450, and land it on for a par chance with my fourth shot. And that is good scoring. This is not 600 yards, by the way. I hit a 9-iron twice so far, both in the fairway. And because I got a lucky bounce on the second time, I have a 9-iron onto the green, and we will have a birdie chance. However, if I convinced myself or deluded myself into thinking that I need to hit a driver as far as possible on a par 5, I could put more risk into my game than necessary. Oh no. Oh, of course, the one approach shot that counts, I thinned it. Still, we're up there. The worst shot that I have hit on this hole so far has been my third shot into the side bunker. But if I took a driver out, or a wood, or a long hybrid, that I do not practice enough, chasing distance, what would be my worst shot? Probably out of bounds, probably behind a tree, and it would leave me into a position where I'm wasting a complete shot. As opposed to a 9-iron, my worst shot went forward. It's very important to remember that you are not scoring off the tee, unless you get a hole-in-one. Aside from that, you are not going to add any good potential onto your score. We could talk about strokes gained, but that doesn't matter, to your score. However, you have plenty of time to add bad shots and bad scores onto your round off the tee. So hitting a reliable, safe club is going to do you better than chasing distance off the tee. Ooh, where did my tee go? What's important to think of is my driver, or is which clubs are losing me huge shots. I'm talking about shots that are out of bounds, behind a tree, and now you're automatically adding +1 or +2 onto your score. If I hit my driver out of bounds twice, well, automatically I'm going from, say, breaking 90 to struggling to break 95. You need to play safe as opposed to chase distance and play aggressive. Important to think about, well, which clubs are losing me big shots and which clubs are my reliable clubs. I spoke about reliability in another video, so you can check that out. But which clubs are my reliable clubs that I know everything outside of a very rare occurrence, is it going to lose me a big shot? And I'm not just talking about hitting it into the rough. I'm talking about hitting it out of bounds, hitting it behind a tree, completely wasted shots. Oh, that was a little easy bird and I'm ruined. Another place to waste shots is on the green. Why? Because people are lazy around the green and they either don't line up the ball or they don't think about how far do I need to hit it. They're only thinking about don't 3-putt it. What do? They 3-putt it. That was my good tee that I lost. So let's think about where else are you wasting your shots? I would imagine most people are probably losing most of their shots off the tee. And the second place that I think most people are losing their shots is with a wedge in their hand. By wasting a shot, I do not mean I hit an approach shot not on the green. I'm talking about you flubbed a wedge shot, you hit your out of bounds shot out of bounds. I mean, you hit your tee shot out of bounds, shots like that. So let's see, I'm gonna pull out my driver, even though I'm not really feeling that confident with my driver recently. Does it lose me a shot? In the best case scenario, where does it leave me? Well, it's way to the left. Hopefully I carried it far enough where I'm not behind a tree. Now, because I used a driver as opposed to, say, a confident club such as a 7-iron, I have wasted a shot. I need to chip out. There is no avenue that I can get the rest of the distance. I have about 160 yards left that I need around these trees. So now I need to add one stroke onto my game, chipping out back onto the fairway. Now, the best case scenario would be I hit a drive here onto the middle of the fairway, and now I have a shot to get on for 2. The realistic scenario is I hit it out here, probably not this far. Realistic scenario is, with the best case scenario, is I hit my driver into the fairway or into light rough, and I don't lose it. My second shot, I am unlikely to get a green in regulation, statistically. So there would be no difference if I hit a 7-iron and then a 7-iron and had a wedge in my hand than if I had a driver, a short iron, or a wedge in my hand, and then I missed the green. And that's the thing about scoring, is we don't want to waste shots. We're not looking to gain shots. Now me, I smoked that perfectly. I'm a fucking baller. If we have realized that, hey, I do not need to try to gain any shots, I need to stop losing shots, and I start choosing irons that I feel comfortable with off the tee. Where else am I going to lose shots? And I mean waste shots. When you have a wedge in your hand, that is an opportunity for you to waste a shot because one, people choose the wrong wedges for the right shot. You need to find one wedge that you can learn how to hit every single distance from your max distance to a small chip shot to get around the green. You do not need 2 different wedges, 3 different wedges. You do not need multiple wedges around the green to score well. That is only going to trip you up. Now, you may be a unique circumstance where your wedges and your tee shots are not losing your shots. The next thing is probably going to be your putting. Your putting, for most players, your putting is going to be inadequate and you're going to have many 3 putts. Those are wasted. Anything above 2 putts is wasted shots. That means that it's not necessary and we made a huge mistake. I'm not talking about missing by like 2 inches on your first putt, leaving us to 2 putt, and if we got on for a par chance, we got a bogey, that's fine. We really want to try our best to eliminate 3 putting. And we really want to try to eliminate really wasted shots. So how many times are you off balance or see your friend off balance when they are behind the tee swinging their driver? I spoke about this in another video. If you are ever off balance with your shot, that means you are doing too much. You really want to try to have a smooth follow through and good balance, and you're going to have better consistency. That's not to say that you're going to hit perfect shots, but you're going to have better consistency. There we go. Unless you are breaking 90 and shooting into them around, mid, you are probably making 1 big mistake per round. Per hole. Hitting it out of bounds or wasting a shot somewhere. And until you are shooting in the 80s somewhat consistently, that's the only time as quote unquote designed. Now, why do I say that? When I'm breaking 90, I don't need to play as designed. I just need to play for the bogey. Once I start breaking 90, I need to at least play 1 hole as designed. Oh, in the sand. But before you are shooting into the 80s, if I am trying to shoot 80 or below, that means I need to make less than, say, 8 mistakes on a par 72. That means I need to play the course as designed 10 holes or 11 holes. If you do not know how to get out of a bunker, you are going to waste shots in this bunker. So you need to learn, how do I get out of bunkers? And that is a skill. I can make a little short video on that, but once you learn how to get out of bunkers, you are never going to struggle to at least get out of a bunker. It's not to say that you're gonna hit great shots like that all the time, but you will not waste a shot and you will at least get out of the bunker as opposed to hitting it into the bunker 3, 4, or 5 times. This advice is real, I forgot a T. It's only really for people that actually want to score better. If I want to break my score of 100, I'm going to aim for 95. That means I need to make 5 less big mistakes than I did the previous round, which if you realize I'm making 30 mistakes per round, eliminating 5 mistakes is not that hard. Most of those are probably going to come from off the tee. So if my driver, I'm not confident with my driver, all right, well, which club am I confident with? So say I'm choosing a 7-iron. Oh, my 7-iron is in the fairway. And from there, I'll figure out what do I need to do. If I have an uncomfortable distance onto the green for my approach shot, the worst thing I could do is try to choose a club that I don't hit very often or that I'm not confident with and try to make it work. The best case scenario is I land on the green. The realistic scenario is I'm wasting a shot. I'm probably gonna shank it or hit it poorly and it's gonna go somewhere I don't want it to go. So instead, I'm just gonna choose another confident club, my 7-iron. I'm gonna hit it down there and get a wedge in my hand. The worst thing that you could do with your wedges is try to get cute with it until you need to get cute with it. And that is when you're shooting in the 70s or the low 80s. And even then, you don't need to get cute with it. You just need to get it on the green. So I need to choose one wedge, and this is how I got better. I chose one wedge that I feel comfortable hitting every single shot with, that I knew, all right, I have 20 yards. I need to hit this 20 yards onto the green. I just need it on the green. I don't need it next to the flag. I will 2-putt from there, and that's all I want to feel comfortable with. Let me show you what you don't want to do. That is what you do want to do, but the wrong thing, ooh, that could go in. And the wedge game, a strong short game, is going to get you shots like those, and it's going to save you scrambling. Now I have a tap in par. What I don't want to do is choose a 60 degree, or I want to open this face and try to hit this cute and go like this. Why? Because now that is a wasted shot. I did not need to get cute. It's in the bunker. I gained nothing. But by working on having one confident wedge, you will end up in positions where you are saving shots as opposed to wasting shots. And I mean saving as in you're scrambling to save your bogey, you're scrambling to save your par, whatever it is. Shouldn't have done an example of hitting it into the bunker. Now I gotta rake it. But by having a strong wedge game, you end up with shots like this where you save your par and you have a 1-foot tap in. I'm just gonna pick it up and everyone's happy. So in conclusion, let's kind of wrap up some thoughts. Your tee shots for the average golfer is going to waste you more shots than it's gonna gain you. Your wedge game is the area where your shots are going to matter the most. Because if you have a wedge in your hand, you either did not hit it on in 2, or you hit a really good tee shot and you want to make it count. But as long as I don't flub it, chunk it, top it, try to get too cute with it, and just get it on the green, I'm going to be in a good spot. Scoring well is not about playing the course until you're shooting in the 80s and 70s. It's about eliminating the really bad shots. That's really good. There are going to be other conditions where you are going to lose the course, a bad bounce, hits a water pipe, whatever it is. But those things are out of your control. These things are in your control. So you really want to try to control not scoring double, triple bogeys or even maxing a hole, because that is going to, one, ruin you from scoring. So if that made sense, comment below. Oh, I hit a branch. That's fine. Comment below whatever your favorite season is for golf. I love fall golf. Oh, still recording. Whoops. Oh, I guess let's see this shot. So see what I said? A good wedge game is gonna save you shots. Another tap in.